And gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, this is John Paval with the Access Arts Live weekly organ live stream action roundup for the week of February 9th to February 16th. Yes, that we are that far into this new year already. We have an action-packed lineup for me to tell you about. We've got some of our usual organ recitals going on from, hold on a second, let me get my notes straightened out, from Toronto, Oxford, England, London, Paris, Moscow, Tomsk, Siberia, and the return of Riverside, New York City's recitals on its magnificent, huge, enormous Aeolian Skinner pipe organ. All this for you to enjoy this week, all of which will be free of charge to you. And for this reason, let me remind you, if you're one of these people like our many followers who love organ recitals from around the world, live to you at no cost, do yourself a favor, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, or LinkedIn. Wherever you are, we want to be bringing this kind of content to you absolutely free of charge for our services. Isn't that great? We've recently actually been on this followers drive on Facebook. We're now up to almost 16,000 followers on Facebook from around the world, from all parts, from from Northern Africa, from Eastern and Central Europe, from Indonesia. And I just love all the comments that we see coming from them, because they are all saying that this service we're providing is amazing. And we think it is. That's why we do it. So if you happen to tune in, say hello on the chat and we'll say hello back to you. But having said all of this, let me get on to this week's presentations. Do them one at a time as usual. Each one will get its own separate announcement. Hold on just a second. Let me organize my paperwork so I don't have too many documents open at the same time. When I go down, I need to just go down and see the document I need and none other. Okay. Have you got the picture? You've got the picture of the young man. Tuesday, February 10th, St. James Cathedral, Toronto, live streams veteran Ontario organist Sebastian Moreno, the director of music at St. Jude's Anglican Church in Oakville, Ontario. That will be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, Tuesday, tomorrow, the 10th of February. That'll be 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast and 7 o'clock here in Europe. We don't know what he's going to be playing. They never tell us in advance at St. James Cathedral. Before he was at St. Jude's, he was at St. Bartholomew's in Toronto, and then at Hopedale Presbyterian in Oakville. He has a master's in music and a BFA in organ performance from Duke University. The organ, 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops, 4 manuals, 6 divisions, 5,101 pipes. Dates all the way back to the 1860s, but it was rebuilt thoroughly by L.I. Phelps and Associates in 1976, 50 years ago. Might be due for an update, folks. It's amazing how these organs need them. Or perhaps not so amazing. Let's move on then to another live stream coming to you on Tuesday. And this is a big one. Tuesday, February 10th, Riverside Church, New York City is live streaming once again with top organist Nathan Laube, associate professor at the Eastman School of Music, playing the 12,000 plus pipe Aeolian Skinner organ, originally designed by and built and installed for the legendary organist Virgil Fox. That was back in 1949 when he was the organist there at the Riverside Church. And that organ was built and installed, subsequently redesigned by Fred Swan, who succeeded Virgil Fox, and over a 30-year period continually improved and expanded by the curator of the organs, Anthony Bufano, to become what it is today. Nathan Laube, he was at Stuttgart for a year or two. He had been at Eastman School of Music, then he went to Stuttgart, but then he came back after not too long at Stuttgart. So I guess he was longing to get back to New York City, which I can thoroughly understand. Anyway, he's also an international consultant in organ studies at the Royal Binghamton Conservatoire in the United Kingdom, and he's done extensive touring in a recital career. What will he be playing? We don't know what he's going to be playing because they didn't tell us at the Riverside Church, but this will be a top concert, I guarantee you that. And that organ is something to hear if you're an organ lover. You know, we give you the specs for each of the organs and the links that we provide. So, no, if you're watching on TikTok, you don't get any of the photos, you don't get any of the links, you don't get any of the textual information that we're presenting, but I will subsequently put up the video that everybody on our other 6 platforms gets, which includes that information. If you're smart, what you want to do, and you're interested in this kind of material, what you want to do is subscribe, follow or subscribe to Access Arts Live on Facebook or YouTube, and then you'll get everything all at once. How about that? Okay, let us move on. Wednesday, February 11th, Queen's College, Oxford, live streams Andrew Lumsden, organ recitalist and former director of music at Winchester Cathedral, to play Buxtehude, Zweilink, Johann Sebastian Bach, and Felix Mendelssohn's Prelude and Fugue in C minor. That will be at 2:10 in the afternoon European time, 8:10 in the morning on the East Coast, very early, much earlier in the morning on the West Coast, and 10 after midnight down under in Australia, in Melbourne or Sydney, but a little earlier if you're on the West Coast in Perth. He'll be playing Buxtehude's Preludium in C, Zweilink's variations on Onder en Linde Gruven, Bach's Pastorella, BWV 590, Nun kommt der Heiden Heiland, BWV 659. You can tell I love pronouncing German. And O Mensch Bewein, BWV 622, and then finish up with that Mendelssohn Prelude and Fugue. Lumsden has had a storied career with Southwark Cathedral, with Westminster Abbey, with Lichfield Cathedral. He's worked with the BBC Concert Orchestra and the singers there, the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra that live streams regularly, and we're always telling you about them, the English Chamber Orchestra, etc. He left Winchester Cathedral in 2024 to become more of a freelancer. Then he ran a course for choir directors at St. Thomas Church, Fifth Avenue in New York, whose live streaming we have just discovered. We were telling you about a live stream of theirs this past weekend. He's working with 3 cathedral choirs in South Carolina, and he has a weekly classical music radio show on Southampton's Voice FM. So interesting guy, interesting program. He'll play it extremely well, of course. The organ is the Frobenius organ. The college is very proud of it. I'm not going to repeat everything they say about it. You can just follow the link that we give you and follow up on that. Now, 5 minutes after he gets started, Temple Church London's weekly organ recital live stream features the up-and-coming young Dutch organist Stephen Knieriem, Wednesday, February 11th. That'll be at 2:15 European time, 8:15 on the East Coast. 1:15 midnight down under in Australia, unless you're in Perth, where it would probably be at like 10 o'clock. Anyway, he's a younger guy. He mentions his age a lot in his biography. Born in 2001, so he's 25 years old. He's been active as a church musician at the Elan Straatkerk in The Hague since 2024, and recently received a 2-year organ scholarship at the Church of St. Peter and Paul in Ratingen. We're told that he's performed in major organ series in the Netherlands at St. Babel Haarlem, Westerkerk Amsterdam, Lawrencekerk Rotterdam, etc., and in Germany, and in France and Italy. So he's been getting around. It's a Harrison and Harrison limited organ. We've told you about it before. 4 manual organ complete with 3 big 32-foot stops, originally built for a ballroom in Scotland back in the 1920s. Marcel Dupré came up from Paris to inaugurate it. And then they moved it down to London in 2012 by rail, I think it was. But about a decade ago, Harrison and Harrison took it back into their workshop and overhauled the whole thing. So those are those 2 mid-afternoon on Wednesday. There is more to come on Wednesday evening, coming out of the first of a series coming out of the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Yeah, I didn't give you Stephen Knieriem photo. Folks, I make mistakes. What can I say? Wednesday, February 11th, the organ soprano duo from the Republic of Abkhazia, Luka Gadelia and Kristina Eshba, will perform a program of Vivaldi, Bach, Handel, Dubois, Verdi, Mascagni, and more. Live stream free of charge from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow by Art Bene de Boniarte. They also call themselves. That will be at 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, and 8 o'clock in the evening, Moscow time, which is where they will be. This duo, they've been performing together since 2017. When I went looking for a photo of just the organist, that's the only one I found, and I only found it at the last minute. I can show you another photo that I have of the 2 of them because they really are a pair. Where is the photo that I have of the 2 of them? Luka Gadelia and Kristina Eshba. They're a musical pair. I do not know if they're a pair otherwise in life. Kristina Eshba is a soloist with the Akbaz State Philharmonic. Luka Gadelia has been a soloist with that same Philharmonic since 2012. If you look for them online, you'll find you'll find more concerts of them together than you will find separately. So they really are a performing duo. They'll be doing Vivaldi's Spring and Summer. That'll be on the organ, and some toccatas by French and Italian composers. She will sing Perseus's aria from the opera Andromeda Unbound by Vivaldi. She'll sing an aria by Bach from Cantata number 127. She'll sing Mascagni's Ave Maria, which I've sung, by the way. She'll sing Flores Pie Jesu, you know, the Pie Jesu. Dona eis requiem, Dona eis requiem. It's so infinitely and eternally sweet. And they'll finish up with Marcel Lang of Tweet's Toccata in D major. That's that for Wednesday evening. But the Moscow Cathedral will be back with 2 more concerts on Friday and Saturday, each of which is chaired by a professor of organ from the Moscow Conservatory. So let me tell you about the 2 of those. First of them is actually orchestral as much as anything else. So let me put up the orchestra for you as well. There you go. Organist and Moscow Conservatory professor Elena Spirkina, violinist William Hilo, and the Moscow Regional Philharmonic perform the 4 Seasons by both Vivaldi and Piazzolla at the Catholic Cathedral, Moscow, Friday the 13th. Live stream free of charge by Art Bene at 7 in the evening European time, lunchtime in New York, 1 o'clock, and 10 o'clock in the morning, a late breakfast down under or way out west in LA, 9 o'clock in the evening in Moscow. You know, Vivaldi and Piazzolla both wrote a Four Seasons. The difference between them is that the Four Seasons of Vivaldi is sort of, the seasons, whereas the Four Seasons of Astor Piazzolla are the Four Seasons of Buenos Aires. And so they are tied to spring, summer, autumn, and winter in Buenos Aires in different parts of the city. Primavera porteña, verano porteño, otoño porteño, and invierno porteño. There you go. So that's what that concert will be. Friday. Then on Saturday, there's another concert coming out of the same place. This time I will just show you first of all, I'll show you both of them. What the heck? This is a pair. All right. Okay. Have you ever enjoyed Valentine's Day romance on the alp horn and organ? Well, you can do that Saturday, February 14th this year, as Moscow Conservatory professor and organist Mariana Vysotskaya teams up with the very multi-talented Arkady Schildkloper on the French horn, the alp horn, and the culo horn to play romantic works by Bach, Schildkloper himself, Ravi Shankar, Glenn Miller, Ennio Morricone, and more. It's a Valentine's Day concert. And we've talked to you about Marina Vysotskaya before. She regularly chairs concerts on the organ at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Did I give you the time? The time is 6 o'clock in Europe, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast on Saturday. Ask for Arkady Schildkloper. It's interesting. I ran across him just the other day on Sunday doing another live stream on another Russian channel, something called Cosmo or something like that. And it was chamber music. But he's also known as a jazz musician, an improviser, a composer, arranger, etc. So, but there will, as in these concerts, there will be some very classic organ pieces included. They start out with Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C major, BWV 547 for organ, but then they'll start going into pieces by Schildkloper himself, a piece called Alpine Trail for alp horn and organ. They'll do Ravi Shankar's Song for Everyone for the culo horn. I don't even know what that is. They'll do Wrapped Around Your Finger by the Police, as arranged by Schildkloper for French horn and organ. Procol Harum's A Whiter Shade of Pale for horn and organ, etc. They will do Edelweiss, 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 which most people just know from The Sound of Music, arranged by Arkady Schildkloper. I think it's his arrangement of it for alp horn and organ. Morricone's Gabriel's Oboe, Richard Rogers' My Funny Valentine, and finish up with Mountain Valley, composed by Arkady Schildkloper himself for alpine horn and organ. Horns and organ for your Valentine's pleasure. Okay, we have, I think, only 2 more live streams to tell you about. Both of them on Sunday, I believe. The next one is a young, up-and-coming Japanese organist. Sunday, February 15th, St. Eustache Church in the heart of Paris live streams Japanese organist, pianist, and musician Masaki Shiozawa, playing a very French program of works by contemporary composer Thierry Escache, Charles-Marie Vidor, and Maurice Duruflé. And I hope you're not hearing the construction noise coming through the wall of this place. There's construction going on next door. That will be at 5 in the evening, European time, 11 in the morning on the East Coast, and 8 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. Who is Masaki Shiozawa? He's enrolled at the Paris Conservatory as of this year, which means he's probably studying with, among other things, Thomas Hospital, one of the resident organists at St. Eustache Church, because from time to time he brings in his students to play there. Before that, he studied at the Conservatory in Toulouse, which is very good for the organ. And before that, he studied at a conservatory at the Tokyo Gayday from 2020 to 2024. He'll be playing Thierry Escache's 5 verses on the theme of the Paschal sacrifice, or in French, 5 versets sur le Victime Pascali. Victime Pascali laude molent Christiani, etc. That's what they sing Christmas morning in Latin, but I mean Easter morning in Latin. I don't know if that's the theme that Escache used, but he's a contemporary French composer and organist, one of the resident organists at Notre Dame now, and also a teacher at the conservatory. So Shiozawa may be one of his students as well. Then he'll do Vidor's part 3, the Cantaline from his Symphonie Romane, and then he'll finish up with Maurice Duruflé's Prelude and Fugue on the name of Alain. And I believe that's a tribute to Jehan Alain, the young French organist and composer who died tragically young in 1939 on a motorcycle, went around the wrong corner, and the Germans were there and they shot him to death. It happens. War and the arts do not mix well. That is why I am firmly against war and firmly in favor of the arts. Anyway, then finally, one more concert to tell you about, speaking of war. Monday, February 16th, the Tomsk Philharmonic will be live streaming on its YouTube channel their resident organist, Dmitry Ushakov, doing one of his digital live streams, a concert called Defenders of the Fatherland, music by Tchaikovsky, Gedicki, Prokofiev, and others. And Dmitry Ushakov is always a good time, and he gives you a lot of commentary in Russian if you've brushed up on your Russian, and your Russian is in good shape. Folks, that's what we have for you this week in terms of live streams of organ recitals and organ concerts. I hope that one, some, more, or any of these uplifts you, inspires you, or just shows you a heck of a good time. Before I leave, let me remind you, if you like this kind of programming, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. And we'll make sure you get more than 1,000 live links to live performances online, not only of organ recitals, but opera, ballet, orchestras, chamber music, piano competitions, and even some theater sometimes. So I'll say ciao for now. I will be back today and tomorrow. We have 2 more weekly live streams to do. One will be the chamber music roundup, and one will be the orchestral and operatic roundup. And it will probably be orchestras and opera coming up later today at 6 or 7 in the evening. We'll put up a notice about it to remind you all about it so you can tune in and check it out. Ciao for now.